Alright, so I have the spectator for any dollar bill, and the higher the value, the better. I'll show you why in a minute. I'm just gonna do a little mark right here about the center of the bill. Okay, and just look carefully. Yep, that's a little mark right there. Now, for the next step, what I'm going to ask you is just to listen carefully. This is the best part. And as you can see, the bill is completely restored. Now, I'll tell you how it works. I'm going to show you the secret, believe it or not. The secret is the pencil is not actually ripping the dollar bill. It actually melts through the dollar bill. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. Look carefully. There you go. At this point, you can give the dollar bill back to the spectator, and the pencil is completely examinable. Okay, so I will explain this performance. The pencil is real and the bill, obviously, but the pencil uses a gimmick right over. Okay, so because it is the same color as the pencil, it's going to be kind of hard to visualize. I don't know if you can see right here. So I'm going to use a different color gimmick, so it makes a better contrast against the pencil. Now I will give you the tutorial, but later on, right after, I will show you how to make one of these gimmicks. Okay. Anyway, this is how I begin with the gimmick in the middle of the pencil. Alright. I ask for any dollar bill, I fold it. Okay, so it's gonna be a bit easier for later on in the performance. I put a tip right here. Okay, you watch the performance, you see the sequence. Then I raise the gimmick right to the tip of the pencil. Okay, I'm hiding the gimmick with the fingers. Then I remove the pencil. Then I point right here as an excuse. So when I put the pencil back into the dollar bill, I do it right behind. I always keep pinching the bill when putting the pencil so it doesn't go up like that. Okay, I'm pinching it against the index finger. Then, once you already have it over there, I make some pressure with my index against the thumb. And even though right when I'm gonna push it all the way up, I'm gonna keep holding the bill the entire time. Okay, I just count up to 3, 1, 2, and 3, and when you push it, you can hear that little noise, which is simulating the ripping action. Once you already have it over here, lower the hand and show the gimmick. When you are into this situation, I try not to overexpose this gimmick, but when I move my hand out of the way, I try not to put my finger completely vertically, because that minimizes the separation between the gimmick and the pencil. Even though they're the same color, it may not be the same shade and texture. So I try to move the index finger in diagonal so you can keep a better separation between the gimmick and the pencil, and then proceed to slide the gimmick all the way to this metal part of the pencil, which is very visual. Even better, it sounds real because the gimmick is making pressure against the pencil, and when you slide it down quickly, it seems that it is ripping it off. Do that gesture and show it, it is completely restored. So that's the part number 1. For a second part, and since the gimmick is already all the way here, put the pencil right in the middle. The dollar bill, notice, is right about here. Okay. Then I use the index and middle finger to cover in the front, so I can take the pencil out. But at this point, the gimmick is almost halfway inside, and as an excuse, I'm gonna fix the bill a little bit. Then when I put the pencil back in place, I do this gesture, okay? then slide it and put it back in place. I fold the dollar bill right under the pencil, okay, so it doesn't fall like that before I even reach over here. Then I can show very quickly, because the spectator, they are over there in the front, proceed to the second part. Now this second part, when I move the pencil down, I don't try to go all the way down. Even if the gimmick and the pencil, they are the same color, they may not have the same exact texture and shadings. So I'm trying to give some distance right about there. I don't want to bring it all the way here because it's going to be in a small distance from the bill, concealing the separation between the gimmick and the pencil. So I want to leave it up to there. So it fades a bit more between the pencil and the gimmick, and proceed to the final part. Okay, and that's it for our explanation. Now let's see how we can make one of these gimmicks. Okay, so the tools you need is, I have a Sharpie, a permanent marker, pencils. I use a black color, which is circular for a better gimmick construction, sandpaper, spray, matte finish 1311. The purpose of this spray is just to remove the glossiness for most materials. It may not be a must, but I have it because it removes the glossiness for playing cards in case I want to build invisible decks. So it becomes really handy for many other situations, and it lasts for a long time. And scissors. And this is the main key for this performance to work, because these are color changing straws. They change color with cold water. They are regular straws. The only difference is that because of the chemical compound, I guess, it will require more stiff material. It will make the plastic a little harder for them to bend, so it's not that easy for them to really deform the shape. By being color changing straws, it will require for the chemical compound to use a thicker plastic, and therefore it will not deform the shape quite easily. Don't use regular straws. These are cheap anyway, but again, because they change color with cold water, I guess that's the main thing that it will make these things work. And when you go to the store in which they sell these straws, just touch it. It cannot be really hard nor too soft, because when you do the performance in the bill, it will deform the shape of the plastic, and it has to be stiff enough for the plastic not to deform. So this is thick enough and stiff enough. Anyway, this just happens to be thicker than the pencil. Don't matter. I still had to cut the straw in the middle, in which it will shrink the straw later on, and it's gonna fit better on the pencil. The length of the gimmick has to be 4.5 centimeters in length. Before we start doing anything, use the sandpaper and put it on the straw so you can remove the excessive glossiness of the straw. And do this about a minute. You do this on the straw and do this on the pencil. Okay, just go ahead and go all the way through. I really want to make this edge thinner. The reason, notice over here that when I put a gimmick, I don't want this gimmick to be extremely thick when it ends and too narrow when it begins the pencil. Okay, right over here. So I want to make this gimmick fading out into the pencil. May not be a big deal. Just try to make only this edge thinner. Okay, you don't need to be too stiff. Just the rest of the straw. You don't need to be exactly precise. Just go ahead. You don't need to be extremely worried about it. Then you see you can now make this tighter. The diameter, make it smaller so it fits better. This gimmick is important not to be too loose nor too tight on the pencil. Okay, I think that's good enough. Now you can see here where it overlaps, and just cut. You can leave it a decent gap, a little bigger. That's it. Then the next, you need to allow about 2 centimeters here I'm gonna make a small cut just to have an idea. Then I'm gonna have to calculate about the center. I'm gonna cut a little less than half of it, so the front is gonna be a little over half of the pencil. It's gonna be representing over half of the pencil. Anyway, I have the straw. Now, as you can see over here, from here to here, this is about 2 centimeters, and it's gonna be holding the pencil, and I'm cutting about half. What is gonna represent the pencil? About half of it. Cut, and again up to here. So I have this shape. Okay, right now, so far so good. Then I'm gonna try to make this a semicircle. I'm cutting about a triangle, about this end, and about the same on this other end. Over here, about this much. Then do another one. Cut it in a small triangle. Just go corner by corner until you have the desired circumference. That's it. Then over here, in the same on this other side. Okay, little triangle all the way down to the edge right here. The reason, because when you put the pencil, starting by the eraser, it doesn't really hit hard on this edge. Otherwise, if you don't create these angles, that is gonna hit really bad, and it's gonna be hard for the pencil to get in to the straw or the gimmick this side. Okay, now what I really love about this plastic is that it is the right stiffness. It's not too soft as a regular straw, not too hard. Once you have the shape of the gimmick, you put the gimmick on the straw. Okay, right over here, so I can go ahead and paint it without doing a mess on my hand. This is a permanent ink marker. Just go ahead and paint it all the way through. So you must leave it there for about 2 minutes. Since we sand it around, the ink is going to be absorbed in a decent time. You can go ahead and do the same with a pencil. Since you already sanded, you can go ahead and paint it. Be careful over here, and when you finish, you may or may not go all the way to the end. Okay. So that's going to be up to you. I already did this pencil, and even if you try the best thing, this is wood and this is plastic, it may not give you the perfect shade, but still, that's why I already explained the tutorial, how you can keep a nice distance between the pencil and the gimmick through the build. Okay, once you already have this gimmick done, this is where the matte finish 1311 comes really handy. Now this is going to be really imperative. Do not spray the gimmick, any object, right here. You must have a nice distance, about this distance. Okay, so you just want to sprinkle the object. You don't really want to spray close, because then you are going to smudge the ink. So just keep this distance. Just going to go ahead and show you an example. I don't want to spray the matte. About this distance, okay? Okay, let it dry. That's too wet. Don't even touch it. Let it dry for 5 minutes maybe. I think I still should keep a longer distance. Just let it dry for 5 minutes. And then go ahead and do the pencil as well. So it keeps the similar texture. So the shades are really close. Let me remind you that you can put this inside the straw and put it close to the light bulb and let it heat for about 1 hour. But it depends on the circumference of each and every straw. In this case, that's good enough for me to keep it tight enough to make it work in the performance. And this is it. This is the gimmick we just made. I hope you have as much fun as I do performing this nice illusion.